girl who ran away to change her life. In a quiet village surrounded by dusty roads and small houses lived a girl named Lena. Lena was not like the others. While most people in her village accepted life as it was, Lena always dreamed of something more. She wanted to learn, to grow, to explore the world beyond the hills she saw every day. But her life was not easy. Her family was poor. Her father believed girls should stay home, help with chores, and eventually marry. School was not important to him, especially not for Lena. Every day Lena would watch other children walk to school while she carried water from the well. She would pause for a moment, looking at them, her eyes filled with quiet hope. Sometimes, she would trace letters in the dust with her finger, copying what she saw on old papers or signs. She did not fully understand them, but she wanted to. There were nights when she would lie awake, staring at the roof, wondering what it felt like to sit in a classroom, to hold a book that was truly hers. One evening, after a long day of work, Lena made a decision. She could not stay. That night, under a sky full of stars, Lena packed a small bag, just a piece of bread, a bottle of water, and an old notebook she secretly kept. Without making a sound, she stepped out of her home and began to walk. Her heart was racing. She didn't know exactly where she was going, but she knew why. She walked for hours. The road was dark and quiet. Strange sounds filled the night. Her feet hurt, her body was tired, and fear crept into her heart. At one point she stopped. The silence felt heavy. She almost turned back. She imagined her home, her mother's face, the life she had always known. But then she opened her notebook and looked at the few letters she had written. That was enough. She whispered to herself, "I can do this." And she kept going. A new beginning. By morning, Lena reached a busy town. Everything felt new and overwhelming. People rushed past her. Cars honked loudly. Voices blended into noise. She felt small and lost. Hungry and scared, she sat near a small shop, hugging her bag tightly. An old woman who owned the shop noticed her. She watched Lena for a while, then walked over gently and asked, "Child, where is your family?" Lena hesitated, then told her everything. The woman listened quietly, her eyes soft with understanding. Instead of sending Lena away, she offered her a small job, cleaning and organizing the shop, in exchange for food and a place to sleep. It wasn't much, but it was a beginning. The struggle to grow. Days turned into weeks. Lena worked hard. She woke up early, swept the floors, arranged items, and greeted customers shyly. Some customers were kind. Others ignored her. A few were rude. One day, a man shouted at her for making a small mistake. Lena felt embarrassed and wanted to quit. But that night, she told herself, "This is not why I came." And she stayed. In the evenings, she would sit in a corner with her old notebook, trying to read signs she remembered from the street. Sometimes she failed. Sometimes she got frustrated. Once, she threw the notebook aside and cried. But a few minutes later, she picked it up again. Because giving up was no longer an option. The power of learning. The old woman watched her closely. One night, she sat beside Lena and asked, "Why do you try so hard?" Lena looked up and said softly, "Because I don't want my life to stay the same." The woman smiled. From that day on, things slowly changed. The old woman began teaching Lena simple words, then sentences, then numbers. She corrected her gently when she made mistakes. She encouraged her when she felt tired. Soon, she helped Lena enroll in a local school. For the first time in her life, Lena sat in a classroom. She felt nervous and out of place. The desks, the books, the teacher's voice, it was all new. At first it was difficult. She was behind everyone else. She struggled to understand. Some students laughed at her simple mistakes. One day, she went home in tears. "I can't do this," she said. The old woman looked at her and replied, "You already did the hardest part. You started." Those words stayed with Lena. She wiped her tears, and the next day, she went back. Refusing to quit. Day after day, she studied every night. She asked questions, even when she felt shy. She practiced writing until her hands hurt. She failed tests, then improved, then failed again. But she never stopped. There were nights she studied by a dim light when the electricity went out. There were mornings she went to school tired but determined. Slowly, she improved. Her reading became smoother. Her writing became stronger. Her confidence grew. She began helping other students. The same ones who once laughed, now respected her. A dream realized. Years passed. Lena was no longer the quiet, unsure girl who arrived in the town. She became one of the top students in her class. Teachers noticed her determination. They encouraged her. They saw something special in her. She earned a scholarship. Then another. And another. Each step took her further from the life she once knew and closer to the life she dreamed of. But Lena never forgot where she came from. She often returned to the small shop, helping the old woman, just like before. Until one day, Lena stood on a stage, holding a certificate in her hands, graduating with honors. The crowd applauded loudly. But Lena's eyes searched for one person, the old woman, the one who believed in her when she had nothing. When she saw her, Lena walked down from the stage, tears in her eyes. She hugged her tightly and whispered, "You changed my life." The woman smiled gently and replied, "No, child, you changed your own life. I only showed you the door. You were brave enough to walk through it." Changing others' lives. Years later, Lena made another decision. She returned to her village. But this time, not as the girl who left. She came back as someone new. At first, people were shocked. Some didn't even recognize her. Her father stood quietly, unsure what to say. Lena didn't argue. She didn't complain. She simply began to work. She built a small school with the help of others. She spoke to families. She encouraged parents to educate their daughters. At first, people doubted her. Just like before. Some laughed. Some refused. But Lena didn't stop. She visited homes. She told her story. She showed them what was possible. Slowly, things began to change. Little girls who once carried water now carried books. Parents who once refused now felt proud. Even her father one day quietly stood outside the school, watching children learn. His eyes filled with regret and pride. A legacy of courage, and sometimes Lena would see young girls sitting outside, tracing letters in the dust. Just like she once did. She would smile quietly, because she knew a single brave decision can echo for generations. And a dream, no matter how small, can change the world when someone is brave enough to follow it.